Okay, so this is basically the tips and the tricks to calculate the area. Okay, so for example, if let's say we have a line and then we want to calculate the area with respect to x. So we are going to use the formula a until b. So a is the lower limit, b is the upper limit, and then we have upper function minus with the lower function with respect to x. So since we have the x, we need to make sure what is the upper and the lower limit in x. So this is 0, this is 4. So that means if you want to calculate the area will be integrate starting from 0 until 4. And then the upper function, so basically if we draw a line over here, you should see that this is the upper function and this is the lower function. So the upper function is y equal to x. So that means over here we will have x. So do make sure you have y as your subject. So this is what we want to substitute into. So x. And this line over here is actually the line when y equal to 0. So I'm going to substitute my lower function, which is 0, and then dx. So that means I have to integrate starting from 0 until 4 x dx. And then we're simply going to use some power rule for them. So this is x squared over 2. Evaluate starting from 0 until 4. So this is simply 4 squared over 2 minus with 0. 4 squared is 16. 16 over 2. So this is 8 unit square. Okay, so for the second one, so this is a line y equal to x, but then we have one horizontal line y equal to 1, and the area that we want to find is somewhere in between them. Okay, so again we are going to use the same formula. So this is the x, so we have to be very careful with the value of x. So we start our shaded region when x equal to 1 and we stop at x equal to 4. Therefore, if you want to calculate the area, it should be integrating starting from 1 up until 4. So since this is the x, we have to draw a horizontal line and then check which one is upper, which one is lower. So the upper is for y equal to x. Again, y should become the subject. So the value is x minus. The lower function is y equal to 1. Again, y as the subject. So I'm going to have x minus 1 dx. And then, of course, you can integrate them one by one, or you can use power rule. So x squared minus x squared over 2 minus x. Evaluate starting from 1 up until 4. Substitute the upper limit. 4 squared over 2 minus 4 minus 1 over 2 minus with 1. So 4 squared is 16. 16 over 2 is 8. So 8 minus 4. And then 1 over 2 minus with 1, that is negative half. So this is positive half. So we have 4 plus with half. So this is 9 over 2 unit square. Okay, so now the last example for this one. So this is the x. However, if we look at this one, this graph, we actually change the upper function and the lower function at x equal to 2. So from here, this is upper function. However, if you draw a line here, you should be able to see that this line is actually lower function. After 2, we actually change it a bit. So this one is our upper function now. The red line is our upper function. Meanwhile, the green line is our lower function. So when you want to integrate them, we have to separate them into 2. So the formula for the area. So for the first one, let's call them as A. This is P. So for region A, I started from 0 up until 2 and my upper function is y equal to 2, so y already the subject, so this is 2 minus, and then the lower function is y equal to x, so y has already become the subject, so this is 2 minus x dx plus integrating, so this one is 2, the upper limit is 4, so 2 until 4. So the upper function, so if let's say we draw a line, so upper, lower, so upper function is y equal to x, so x minus, lower function is y equal to 2, so 2 dx. Okay, so now, just now I integrate by using power rule, so perhaps we can use power rule for a linear function. So this is 2 minus x to the power of 2 over 2 multiply with negative 1, and then we have to evaluate starting from 0 up until 2. So this one we're going to do the same thing. So this is x minus 2 square over 2, evaluate starting from 2 up until 4. So this is equal to, so we can actually substitute with 2. So I have 2 minus 2, which is simply 0. And then 2 minus 0, so I'm going to have 2 square. So that is 4. So I got 0 minus. So I have 4 over negative 2 plus. So if I substitute with 4, 4 minus 2 is 2. So I'm going to have 4 over 2 minus with 2 minus 2, 0. So what do we have here is 2 plus 2, which is simply 4 unit square. Okay, so this is for the x. So I should remind you again, if we have the x, that means you should need the value of x. So the value of a and b correspond to x. To get the upper and the lower function, you must make sure you have y as your subject, and this is the one that you want to substitute in. So always make sure that y already become the subject, and then you can substitute whatever value on the right hand side. Okay, so this is with respect to y. So if we want to calculate the area with respect to y, then it should be the right hand side minus with the left hand side. So C and D correspond to the value of y. Okay, so for example, if let's say this is the shaded region that we want to find. So now this is a line where we have x equal to 4. If this is x equal to 4, since this is y equal to x, this line is also 4. So when I calculate my area, it should be the lower limit 0 up until 4. So instead of a vertical line for dx, for dy we have to do a horizontal line. So when you do a horizontal line, to check which one is on the right hand side, which one on the left hand side. So I can see that this is on my right hand side. So I have x as my subject. So the value is 4 minus. So on the left hand side, I have y equal to x. So if x is the subject, I'm going to take y. So 4 minus y dy. So now integrate them. So this is 4y minus y squared over 2. Substitute lower upper limit. So substitute the upper limit, 4 multiply with 4 minus 4 square over 2 minus, substitute with 0, 0, 0. So this is 0. So this is 16 minus 16 over 2, 8. So this is simply 8 unit square. Okay, so the second one, again, I give you the same diagram, but we want to calculate with respect to y. So again, be very careful. We need to know what is the value of y. So over here, I started with 1 y equal to 1 and I stop here, so x equal to 4, the y should also be 4. So when you want to say calculating the area, it should be integrate starting from 1 up until 4. So 1 until 4, you do your horizontal line and then check which function is on the right hand side, which function on the left hand side. So on my right hand side, I actually have x equal to 4. So x as the subject, so we will have 4 minus. So the left hand side is y equal to x. So x as the subject, I'm going to get y dy. So now integrate, so we got 4y minus y squared over 2. Substitute the upper and the lower. So 4 multiplied with 4 minus 1 over 2. Oops, 4 squared over 2 minus. So 4 multiplied with 1, 4 minus 1 over 2. So 4 times 4 is 16. 16 over 2, so this is 8 minus. So 4 minus 1 over 2, so this is 7 over 2. Okay, so this is 8 minus 7 over 2. So 16 minus with 7. So this is 9 over 2 unit square. Okay, so now again, the similar question, but I want to make it with respect to y. So this is 0, this is 2, and the highest here is when y equal to x, so this is 4. So the area is equal to, okay, so be careful. If we look at both of them, we actually change what function on our right hand side and what function on the left hand side. So do make sure you separate your integral into 2. So for this one, the right hand side is the red one. The left hand side is the line. For this one, the right hand side is the line. The left hand side is our red line. Okay, so firstly, we start to integrate starting from 0 up until 2. So for this one, the right hand side function is for y equal to x. So x as the subject, I'm going to have y minus. So this line over here is actually the line when x equal to 0. So I'm going to do y minus 0 dy plus, so this is region A. So for region B, I have to integrate starting from 2 up until 4. And then the function on my right hand side is actually x equal to 4. So this is 4 minus. The left hand side is x equal to y. So this is 4 minus y dy. Okay, so integrate them. So this is y squared over 2. 0 until 2 plus. So this is 4y minus y squared over 2. 2, 4. Okay, so substitute the upper limit and the lower limit. We are going to get 2 square over 2 minus 0 plus with. So over here we have 4 multiplied with 4 minus with 4 square over 2 minus 4 multiplied with 2 plus 2 square over 2. Okay, so let us simplify. 2 square is 4. 4 over 2 is simply 2 plus 4 times 4 is 16. 16 over 2 is 8. And then we have negative 8. And then we have over here, this is 2 square, which is 4. 4 over 2. So that is also 2. So we got 16, negative 8 cancel out. So this one will become 4 unit square. Okay, so again, I should remind you, if this one is dy, the value of c and d here must follow the value of y. So the upper limit and the lower limit follow the y, and then by doing a horizontal line, check which function on your right hand side and which function on the left hand side. So it will be function on the right hand side minus with function on the left hand side. And don't forget to always make sure you have x as your subject, and take this one as your right hand side. And if you have x as your subject, that will be the left hand side.